All right, guys, I want to demonstrate to you the power of chunking and really how effective a skill it is, because it is something that is going to be coming up over and over. Even when we learn the more powerful mnemonics, we're going to be using chunking. And so, in order to first demonstrate visual memory and how chunking can benefit that, we're going to head over to Dr. Lev's Key to Study blog, and we've linked you up to this game called the Short-Term Visual Memory Training Game. And I've set it to 8 symbols here. You'll start out at 4, but what you want to do, and you'll see we're also at novice, what you want to do is you'll be flashing symbols on the page. And you'll very quickly realize that if you don't use chunking, it's going to be very hard to recognize how many S's and how many T's. Let's see that again. Let's see how quickly that goes. Okay? Now, soon enough, you'll realize once you get past 4 or 5 symbols, you'll realize that you need to chunk them. And the strategy for beating this game is to chunk the symbols, okay, into quadrants or into areas. And then you don't have to immediately count in that split second that they show. But what you do is you create the chunks. And then in your mind, you have all the time in the world to go through the chunks and say, okay, what did I see in the top left quadrant? Well, I saw an S and an S and a U. Okay, on the right I saw. And then you can add them up. And this game is very, very hard without chunking, but if you use proper chunking technique, you'll immediately realize how powerful it is. And then once you get a little bit more advanced, you don't have to chunk in quadrants. You can just take clusters. Okay? The next thing that I want to show you guys is another game that'll demonstrate the power of chunking. Now, this is the 20 random word generator on the Key to Study blog. Ideally, you'll be using this eventually once you've learned some of the other hardcore mnemonics. So ignore creative visual markers and word linking and all that stuff for now because we haven't learned it yet. But what I want you to do is try and play this game without chunking once. Try and remember all 20 words, okay? And then you can kind of minimize the page or you can pull it off the screen and try and see how many words you remember. And then I want you to chunk the words. Now, you can chunk them, again, by area, such as thickness, disagreement, threaten, biology, or you can try and chunk them also by meaning, okay? So we could chunk thickness and capacity, right, because those are descriptive words. We could chunk towel and tourist and board because those are objects or actual physical things. However you want to do it, I probably would chunk things into areas. I would take former, towel, relative, tourist, expectation. And then I would take desperately, shop, leader, universe. And I'd give myself a minute or so, and then I would take it off the page and see how much I remember. So try those things out. You're also going to get a worksheet, the chunking worksheet, which you should complete, and that'll show you with numbers how chunking works. So that should give you a number of great exercises to play around with chunking, and it should also demonstrate just how powerful of a technique it really is.